Hello, this is Gio. Hey, look what we have here. We're looking at an electric wall heater, also commonly known as Cadet heaters, but the name Cadet heater is actually a brand name, but this is just a standard electric wall heater. And if you examine it, you can kind of tell it's pretty dirty. There's a lot of dirt and dust on the grate, and it's probably pretty dusty inside the unit itself. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to clean this electric wall heater. Now, typically you're supposed to clean these things out at least once a year. There's recommendations out there maybe twice a year, every 6 months, but you can tell this thing has not been cleaned out for a while, and so it will probably need a lot of cleaning. Now, the first thing you want to do before you open this thing up is to turn off the power. And this is not just the electric knob for the heat setting. You want to go to your breaker panel and actually turn off the power to the unit itself. And so with the power off, you want to just look at your wall heater. Now this is going to be different than, let's say, a baseboard electric heater, which is generally on the floor and is long. Today we're just going to look at these wall heaters, these individual wall heaters, and commonly you'll find a temperature gauge dial right about here, and you can kind of see the cutout area for that dial. Now if you have that, you'll need to remove the little plastic cap from that dial. Now this one works on a thermostat on the wall, and you don't control the heat by turning this knob. But if you do have this knob, just carefully take a screwdriver and very carefully kind of pry that thing out, pop it out. It is plastic, so it can break. So just be gentle and pull it out, and you'll see a little metal bar at the end. And once that knob is out, you're good to go. Okay, so if you did need to remove that knob and it's removed now, all you need is a Phillips screwdriver, and you want to just take out the 2 screws that are holding the grate in place. Just like that. And then you want to just, it could just fall out by itself, or you just kind of carefully remove it. Sometimes this one looks like it's partly painted in place. You can see the difference in color, but this is the inside of the electric heater. And so we're going to put this aside and actually run this under a kitchen sink and kind of scrub off and clean the dirt that's on this grate. But right now we're going to be focused on the internals of this heater. So again, the power is off, but even with the power off, you kind of want to be careful, because if any power left over, it could create an electric shock. You can see the little dial here that if it wasn't, the temperature wasn't controlled by a thermostat on the wall, you'd be spinning that little plastic cap, and the heat would be controlled by this little knob here. You also have a little fan that tends to spin just like that, and you can see how dirty it is. So there's a lot of dust in here that we want to try to clean out. So how do we do that? So your first instinct may be to take a paper towel or a dust cloth or even a duster and kind of get in there and try to remove the dust. But you can see it's really cramped, and you can't really get a duster in there very easily. Also, you could lose some paper or fabric fibers in there that can burn up when it starts heating. You don't want to do that. So the best way of cleaning the dust out of these are air. Okay, so how do you blow this out with air? Well, now the best way is, if you do have an air compressor at home with a little air nozzle like this, you can use that to blow it out. That will be the strongest source of air to blow out as much dust as possible. Now, if you don't have an air compressor at home, you can also use just a standard blow dryer, a hair blow dryer. Just maybe set it to a cooler temperature level, and that will provide enough air to help get a lot of this dust out of there. You can also use just canned air. This is just standard kind of like electric duster air, and it's just air under compression here, and you can blow it out that way. Again, the preferred method is an air compressor with a little nozzle. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Now I do have a dust mask on, and if you have kids or elderly, you probably want them out of the house just because you're blowing dust around. But the first thing you want to do is remember this fan. Now when you apply air, this fan may spin really fast, and it may be okay, but you could also damage it by blowing strong air in this. So you generally want to hold this fan in place while you're blowing the air. So let's go ahead and do that. And there you go, we got most of the dust out. You can see there is some residual dust here on the blades, the fan blades, but I really want to discourage you from getting, let's say, a paper towel in there and trying to wipe it around. You can usually do more damage than good. Now, if you do periodically clean this out, let's say once a year or twice a year, you'll eventually kind of keep this as clean as possible, and you won't get that buildup of dust that can't be blown out. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned the grate so it looks a lot better. And so we're ready just to replace those 2 screws and replace the grate. I do want to focus at this little dial here. You'll notice that it has a little bit of shape. It's not completely round. So if you do have a knob that needs to be replaced, look at the bottom of the knob. It should be flat on one side. So you should orient the knob with this shape when you're replacing the knob. But first, before you replace the knob, we have to replace the grate. And so you just want to line the screws back in these holes, and there should be little holes on the top and bottom. So just make sure you get it lined properly. There you go. And at this point in time, if you do have a knob, you would be replacing the knob. Again, looking at that rod to make sure you put the knob in properly. And there you go. That is how you clean an electric wall heater. Well, I hope this video helped you out. And if you did enjoy it, please hit that like button at the bottom of the screen. And even consider subscribing to my channel. I have many more videos to come. Bye-bye.